There you go. I shudder to think what the transcription's going to show. That the transcription on our Teams this week has been providing some very interesting interpretations of words. It's been calling taxonomy tax on the bone all week. I don't know what tax on the bone means, but...
Don't look it up on your work computer is all I can say.
Anyway, g'day, Will.
Hi, Will.
Hey, Will.
Anyway, we might start. So, as usual, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the country in which I'm entering the call from, which is the Ngunnawal people, and invite everybody else to indicate the lands in which they're the traditional custodians of the land in which you're making your calls from, and feel free to acknowledge them in the comments. I'd like to acknowledge the elders, past and present, and yeah, that's a fairly important thing over here at the moment. And we're about to have another cultural activity with the Ngunnawal people. CSI Road does these regular kind of cultural opportunities to go out with Ngunnawal seniors to learn about the landscape and traditional uses of plants, which is coming up, which is really cool. Anyway, so thanks everybody for coming, and thanks in particular to John and in absentia Steve for correcting Tanya and I's complete misinterpretation of what we needed to do next at the last meeting. So look, the main focus of this meeting is to review what we still need to do again, and decide what we need to do, maybe clarify a couple of things with you, John, if that's okay, and then kind of break up what we need to do to kind of get it done so we can get into the next stages. So what I've done is, based on a conversation with Tanya earlier this week, I've tried to convert John's email into like a summary of things that we still need to do and what's connected to what, which is probably just going to make John burst out laughing when I realise that I've done it wrong. But anyway, so I'm just going to share that. It's just a simple PowerPoint slide.
No, I'll cry that I didn't explain it well is what will happen.
No, you trust me, it's me, it's not you. So as I've already realised I've done something wrong, damn it. So the products that we need to produce, and I've seriously plagiarised John's email to produce this, is a vocabulary enhancement element, a user feedback report element, a full term metadata, and then the two schema packages. Now we have to get so one thing John, can I just clarify, all of those elements have to go to the Darwin Core Maintenance Group, is that correct?
So, yeah, what we're dealing with here is not a new standard, but rather to add something to an existing standard. That's why it's called a vocabulary enhancement, and that's why that document comes into play.
Okay.
And because it's a vocabulary enhancement and not a new standard, the process is far reduced. And yes, it's managed by the Darwin Core Maintenance Group. So the Darwin Core Maintenance Group is there to help this process.
Okay.
And so a vocabulary enhancement can come from many different pathways. We are doing it via a task group. And that makes things all very organized and so on. And it tends to carry a lot of weight going into public review. It's like, okay, a bunch of people spent a lot of effort to figure this out. So those who really don't have a lot of stake in the issue can feel some confidence without having to, have gone through the entire process that you did to come to these conclusions. And
Okay.
others who are super keen on it and are affected by it, that you've done all the hard work. And all they need to do is assess what you've done, and see if they can think of any exceptions or additional stuff to add to it or questions where things aren't clear. So what we're really doing is covering a lot of those requirements for why a vocabulary is needed. You've got multiple different groups together saying that this is needed. That's already covering the demand requirement. And so you just need to state that in whatever it is that you're proposing. So if you were to look at the GitHub issue templates, like if you go to GitHub for Darwin Core and say create a new issue, that's going to give you a choice of a new term template or a change term template or just a blank issue. So for much of what you want to do here, you're going to be creating new term issues using that template for all the things that you want to add, all the terms you want to add.
Right.
And in those templates at the top, it's going to ask you, how have you satisfied this demand requirement? Is there a stability requirement? In your case, there is none because everything's new. You are not backwardly affecting anything for any of your terms unless you're trying to change some existing term. And the efficacy requirement is going to be covered by all the work that you've done, which will be captured in the user feedback reports. The feature report says, here's what we're adding to Darwin Core. And the implementation experience report is those people who've tried to do things with what you're proposing, say what it is that they've done and point to it.
So
and then,
my question was, because I had a go at trying to write up a document, and I think what I've got is a mixture of both of those reports. But my question was, which I think is acceptable.
It is.
Given that you did it for Darwin Core Data Package.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it is. And it kind of makes sense. It's all in one. But my question is what constitutes testing? So, for example, does when we got all the use cases and then refined the terms or vocabularies based on them, is that testing? Or do you need to have it tested on like a data set? Because we've got the use cases which we use to refine it, the vocabulary, and then we also have like when Simon did the data model, he put some dummy data in a table to show us how it could be applied.
Yes,
is that testing? That okay.
That
so that
one.
we wouldn't need to do anything other than that.
Right. You've made dummies spreadsheets against the use cases and can show this covers what we were trying to do if we laid it out this way. That's
We
fine.
could probably do, we could probably do a bit more comprehensively. It was just a couple of, yeah.
Yeah. I was just
Yeah.
about to say, I think we could do it comprehensively and potentially. Does it carry more weight if we relate them back to real world examples rather than just me sitting here rolling a d6?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to cover your efficacy thing, right?
Yeah.
Like this will do what we said it would do, or what we were setting out to do.
And so the stability thing isn't about ongoing stability of the standard maintenance of it. It's
It's
about,
more about not breaking things that already exist.
okay, because I took it to mean, that, we say that it'll be maintained by the Darwin Core it'll be a vocabulary or two vocabularies maintained by the Darwin Core maintenance group, and it'll be there and all blah. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it probably won't have an impact on the existing Darwin Core terms, like the generalization field, and then there's another one as well.
Withheld, information withheld.
Yeah. I'm guessing it won't have an impact on that because that'll still be used if people don't use this extension.
Right.
Is that true?
I think so. From all I've
Yeah.
seen, that won't have a negative effect.
No. Okay, cool. That was what I was guessing too.
Yeah, no, you'd worry about the stability requirement, or want to justify what you're doing for something much more extreme. For example, when we tried to redefine what an occurrence was, that could potentially have effects.
Yeah.
And even though we were trying to clarify things, people's earlier understanding was different from what we're proposing it really mean by refining and saying it's not what we saw plus the material that was collected plus the DNA plus the media. It's actually clarifying things. So there's a potential to really mess things up. But the fact is that the only place where it would really matter is a Darwin Core archive where everything's flattened out anyway. So it doesn't really affect a Darwin Core archive. It only makes a clarification and allows the data package to do things the right way. So, but you don't have any of that.
No. Cool. And I sort of started to fill out the CSV. Thankfully, Mika had kind of made a start on something similar anyway, but I just had to cross-check because we sort of amended the vocabularies since she's done it. But looking at the chronometric age 1, Humboldt 1, there wasn't, I'm not sure how to reflect hierarchy because we had sort of we had sort of obfuscate coordinates, and then we had the different categories and subcategories under that. So in the comments, I've just written children and put what the terms underneath that the main one would be. That makes sense. But I wasn't sure how to reflect that in the CSV file.
So this would be for a controlled vocabulary. Correct?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second because there's a special paragraph on hierarchical vocabularies that I can point you to, but I need to find it. It's open here somewhere, I think. No, I'm wrong. It might take longer to figure this out where that is. Not on the tip of my tongue because I have not had to make one yet in all the stuff that I've done.
Do you want me to show it, Cam? Do you want me to share mine?
Yeah, feel free.
If you were looking for...
I was looking for it, but yes, go for it.
Here's one I prepared earlier. Hang on a minute. I'll just make it look a bit nicer. So at the top level ones, I've just put children and then put the other two subcategories underneath it. And then also in comments, I've put, we had invalid usage examples and I didn't want to lose those in this process. I mean, they're probably going to be documented elsewhere once we sort of get to writing up, like ratifying it or whatever, and describing it a bit more. But this is kind of how I've done it. So I've used, we haven't really talked about it as a group, even though Mika did show this briefly. We had more wordy labels. She's tried to make them shorter, but the definitions that we came up with as a group I've put in here. Comments field I've put the children if it was like a top level and then a subsequent. So those, and then we had invalid usage examples for some of the terms as well. So I've just put them in the comments. Haven't put any examples in. I'm guessing that they're properties, and then the actual terms, reasons, and treatments are classes. So I've copied them in as well. And I'm not sure the Eries are right because I just copied. I'm pretty sure nothing's in A, B, C, D, and they're all extensions. I don't know. I can probably, I mean, I need to share this and just make sure it's got the right information where it's needed. And then the other thing I did was start to draft the report, which started as a feature report, and then I figured I'd probably combine them, which was this. So the blue text is what comes out of the vocabulary maintenance standards, and this is like the demand.
Make that a bit bigger.
Oh, okay. I can see it. It's on a massive screen in front of me. Hang on.
Also, I'm assuming your screen is in portrait mode?
Yeah.
Portrait orientation, I should say. Right. Okay, that makes more sense then.
Oh, Lord. There you go.
You can all zoom in on other people's screens. If you just go down to the bottom left of your screen, you'll see there's a plus and you can just zoom in and read it that way.
Thank you, Alice.
Yeah.
That was...
Alice, we didn't even see you join.
I let her in.
I did join late because I had an ITBERS meeting before this, but yes, I am lurking.
Yeah, so demand, I put kind of like the background in, And then we did the workshop that we did at TDWG a couple of years ago, a few years ago now, and the action was for us to create this task group. But I probably need to say something about the task group in the membership here. And then efficacy, I mainly, oh gosh, my mouse isn't working, so I have to use the pad. I just said how often we've met, and then we've tested them against use cases, and then I was going to put in Simon's table as well. Oh, sorry. Did I say how much I hate the touchpad? And then there was a paper as well that basically referenced our work and was recommending that something like it be ratified because it makes the information available to users and users can better understand what's been done to records. And then stability we can leave out because I took it to mean what's going to happen to it once we and the features I included were just reasons and treatments. So that's where I've got to. And I'm not sure what else I need to put in apart from that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get an idea if I'm on the right track. And we can share the documents a bit more broadly to sort of get better feedback.
Yeah, that looks on track to me.
Okay, good. There's not much to go from with the paragraph in the vocabulary maintenance standard.
Yeah.
So
examples are kind of the way to go.
Yeah, I looked at a few. So yeah, I looked at the taxon concept scheme and the chronometric age one and Humboldt, and then the Darwin core data package one as well, and they're all different.
Yeah. In the
so
meantime,
yeah,
I did find what I was looking for. I put it in the chat. It's a different document. It's how maintainers deal with creating the content that needs to be processed by scripts to make the vocabularies. But there's one bit in there that's useful, and that is for controlled vocabularies, there is an added column about how to do the hierarchies. And what it contains really is a value about what kind of SCOS match there would be from the term that you're describing to some other term. So is it a broader term, an exact match, or narrower, things like that. I was trying just now to find an example, and that's going to be a bit harder. I won't be able to pay attention and find the example at the same time. But I will look for that.
So is that what this diagram you're talking about? You've got terms saying it's part of on their classes. It goes that way.
No, that's a diagram about how to relate the parts of a standard, not the control vocabularies, between the control vocabularies themselves.
Oh, okay.
I think the only place where we have these is in audiovisual core.
Okay.
I think degree of establishment has a hierarchical controlled vocab.
I couldn't hear that very well.
Right.
Degree of establishment has hierarchical
Does it?
vocabs.
Ah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Will's suggesting.
Okay. I can find that one then.
Maybe not. Is it? No, pathway, sorry. Pathway has a hierarchical. It uses it has broader concept and refers to another term.
Do you have a link for that? Here's an establishment means update file, and it does have 3 columns that are additional. Okay, let me look at that one. Pathway. Okay, then see if I can find a spreadsheet for pathway. Yes, pathway. Yep. Okay, good. I'll put the link for the spreadsheet in the chat as well. So that one has what the CSV file should look like that includes the mappings. So that'll solve your problem for that one.
All right, cool. Thanks.
So you had additional comments in there.
Yeah.
And I think those can go in the notes, either usage or notes columns, depending.
Okay.
So I think we have a place for everything you were
Okay,
that you had in your
great.
sheet.
Cool.
Thanks, Will. I would never have found that.
No
Thanks to
worries.
both of you.
Yeah. So what's the next steps? Do I just keep going with a draft and circulate it? There was other things on.
Yeah, do you want me to bring up the...
Yeah, other things on your slide.
Yeah, translate what I wrote in the email into checkboxes. That would be a good thing. Everybody can see where we're at, what needs to be done still.
So is it okay to put the top 3 demand, stability and efficacy requirement in the report as well? Or does that go against? Is that a separate?
Yeah, those are just things to fill in for every term issue. And they're right there in the template.
Okay. Yep. Cool. So we've made a start on the feature report. The term metadata stuff. And then I think Mika and Simon have done a lot of work around the schemas, but they're not in XML yet. So I guess that's another thing we need to do.
There was I think John had some good examples or links to examples of those sort of schemas in his email. And I think
there's a Humboldt one and the other one.
So I can at least take a crack at it for the Darwin Core Archive version, see how I go, and then John can shake his head and or nod or whatever that needs to be done.
I'll shake it this way. I'm sure I'll be shaking it this way.
I like your confidence. Thank you. I feel that's great. But yeah, look, I'm happy to have a crack at that and go back and remember how XML works. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Can we not actually? I mean, okay, I know I've used that language now in a recording.
Sorry. Okay, I'll be sensible. Look, I might.
Thank you.
Because Simon, when we spoke about this at the last meeting, you and Mika both said you were going to go away and look at this. I might put Mika's name down there to be confirmed post-meeting.
Yeah, because she was going to. I think that's.
And
she
she's
was
done a
looking
lot of
at
work
this.
on it.
Well, yeah, and especially the data package converting. I would say really converting the data package into XML.
Yep.
I think that my bet is she will land closer to the mark than I will on the first
The data
pass.
package schemas will be in JSON.
Yeah.
Right.
XML.
Oh, that's even easier. Famous last word.
Another thing about these schemas, I don't know if I mentioned it in the email or not. Maybe something happened since that email. I just don't recall the order of things, but it has been agreed that the maintenance group, the Darwin Core maintenance group, will take on schema management. The schemas will become part of the standard, which never was the case before. If those who have minted them desire that to be the case. It's not a given, but if, for example, GBIF, all of their Darwin Core archive, occurrence core, event core, all those things will become part of the Darwin Core standard. And so when there are changes via term updates, either new or changed terms, the maintenance group will automatically rebuild those schemas to comply with that. This might fall into that category, but that's something you'll need to decide. An exception to that is something like the OBIS extended measurements or FACT schema. They were the authors of that. They're the greatest stakeholders in that. And if they don't want to give up the maintenance of that, they don't have to.
Okay.
So, but if you have a desire for the maintenance group to take it over, then be aware that it can be part of the standard and can be taken care of by the maintenance group, but you'll have to build the first one probably.
Okay. Do we need to flag that in the reporting that we're putting forward, John, or can we just discuss that once it's gone to the maintenance group for review?
It's new, so I mean, I don't think it would harm having it be a suggestion.
Okay.
In your reporting. But yeah, just to not have it be a surprise when somebody asks you, do you want this to be part of the standard or not? And you might think, well, isn't that what we've just done? And the answer would have been no. But now the answer is you decide. Because schemas were never part of the standard ever.
Okay. So metadata, Tanya, you said you'd started.
That was that spreadsheet.
Yeah. I mean, it might be good to get some other task group members to help you on that if anybody is up to putting their hand up.
Did I mention something without putting my hand up? No.
I think your
kidding.
hand's already
Well and
been
truly
raised
up.
for the.
I walk
Yes.
around like this. 2 hands up. No, I'm perfectly happy to help with that, but it probably bears worth mentioning. So Tanya's spreadsheet is an excellent way to start this because it will be the end product that's needed for scripts to produce the standards documents. But what has to happen for public review is what you're putting in there needs to go into a GitHub issue following the templates, right?
So for
it'll be
each
going
term?
2 directions. It'll go from your spreadsheet into that. People will review it publicly because it's more friendly that way. And then the results of that will go back into your spreadsheet as the product.
Okay. So for each term, we have to put a GitHub issue in. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
Each
Okay,
term
cool.
individually.
Yep.
And there would be a term for a class as well if you're creating a class.
Yep. So the classes are reasons and treatments, that we decided.
And for the last public review, I did a trick that I think worked out well. The trick I implemented because the Darwin Core Data Package public review was enormous, and to try to help guide people through what was under review, I created what was called a summary issue. And so the summary issue was not really a task for people to try to solve and say, okay, this has been done and close the issue that way. It was more to create a checklist of all the things that were relevant for the submission. And I created one per class.
Okay.
So in that, there was a reference to every other issue that was relevant to your submission. So people could then use the issue summary and just look, here's all the RASD things. And I could, and then go use that to just concentrate on this subject matter. Because when you create or when you participate in a public review, it's not going to be just this. It'll be this plus other stuff that's been accumulated for change or addition to Darwin Core. So you might actually be in at the same time that mineralogy wants to submit their extension. It's actually not an unlikely possibility. So this will help. I'll give you an example of one of those as a model.
Thanks.
Let's see.
I was just looking that up. In terms of the implementation experience report, if we're all agreed, we can use Simon's spreadsheet as a start space for that and look to. Simon, are you happy to kind of round that out with a full set of?
Oh, yeah. I sort of thought I'd already put my hand up for that by just saying that that's the thing that we should.
I'm happy to help you with that too, Simon.
Yeah, no, look, happy to do that. I've just gotten used to the standard seems to be if I open my mouth to ask a question, that becomes my homework.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if we do that, I think it's important to then circulate it around the rest of the group
absolutely,
to test it.
To test it, to also, I think, come up with any particular cases that we don't necessarily have. I mean, I was going to use some of our experience, obviously, with that. The place where we don't have definite experience coming through, at least in a formal sense, in the sensitive data service at this stage, is with cultural sensitivity examples. We definitely have examples for some of the location, more broader location issues, I think. But
fortunately, after I go to the middle of
expletive
nowhere,
sorry, I knew
in
where
June.
That was going.
Sorry, I'm going out to the
desert,
eastern Western Australia. In the middle of the desert to talk to one of the Indigenous communities out there about sensitive data in June. So we'll probably have some really good examples of cultural sensitivity after that, I should imagine.
And probably lots of photos of marsupial mole rats, which is the other.
I really hope so. I would love to see a marsupial mole. I got to say it very high on my list of things to see. Anyway.
Sorry, side notes.
Then the sorry.
I was no. So I was just ticking that off and saying absolutely happy to take that on.
And then I mean Tanya's already made an excellent start on the feature report and pulling in the requirements, and I think Tanya and I can just kind of continue producing that, can't we?
Yeah, I think so.
And then again circulate it around the group.
Yep.
So I put a link to an example for an issue summary issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, even if you don't make one, I will probably make one when it comes time to do public review, just to help people. So feel free to make one, but if you don't worry about it too much. It's okay to ask me to make it too. But I would make it after the other issues have been created.
Yeah. So for the labels, obviously, will be self-explanatory. If I create one, it'll be like a very preliminary type of issue. I'm guessing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the labels either. We can take care of labels.
Okay, cool.
We'll probably even create some more.
All right.
Right. Well, anything else we need to? Oh, the only other question I had, John, and I think this is actually covered in the email. The controlled vocab itself, do we need to do we need to have that ready to submit with the rest of this package to the maintenance group? Do we do that after the consultation period because it might change? What are your thoughts? I mean, to process-wise, it makes sense to me to submit it with everything else, but
without making a judgment call about when, either is an option. So what it would mean practically is if you weren't ready to create and submit that control vocabulary, or if there was a high priority to get everything else in place first and worry about the controlled vocabulary further down the line, then it would mean, for example, that the term that's meant to use that controlled vocabulary would have a usage note saying something more generic than otherwise. So if you were to look at, for example, the current status term in Darwin Core, it'll say something like recommended best practice is to use a controlled vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it'll, in that particular case, it will say a little bit more. It's like, okay, there really only are, it's only meant to be binary. That's either detected or absent of detection. It used to be present absent, but those were not accurate terms. So there really isn't a control vocabulary to point to yet. And that's what those terms look like. A usage note that makes some recommendation about what to do, and the examples that contain real values that we really want you to use. But then if you look at an establishment means or a pathway term in Darwin Core, it's going to be more specific than that. It's going to say the recommended best practice is to use this particular vocabulary and point to the URL where the list of terms are contained.
Okay.
So if you didn't go through the creation of the control vocabularies yet, you'd use the usage note pattern that I described for occurrence status. If you did, then you'd actually anticipate where that would live on the TDWG or Darwin Core site and directly point to it, saying these are the values we recommend, and develop them at the same time. And then, right, if you didn't develop them at the same time, then in a later public review, those would be proposed, and changes to the term that was supposed to use them would also be proposed to modify that usage note to be more specific.
So potentially, yeah, either's fine, but process-wise might be prudent to at least try to do them as part of this package.
Yeah, it's about timing.
Yep. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? Well, thanks everybody. I think that's awesome. I think we're pretty close to being
you're
able
close.
to.
You're actually really close.
You are right. We were closer. We looked at it and then we went, oh, we don't feel like we're that close. And then went, oh, actually, maybe we are. And Mika was amazing because she'd already done some of it when she was doing some of her kind of working out the schemas and stuff. So that helped a lot, especially with the the term list already. So yeah, we are closer than we thought, I think.
Relief.
Indeed. And look, thanks to everybody, but special thanks for John for getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then allowing his brain to be pillaged while he's not awake yet.
Yeah.
It's like getting up in the middle of the night and doing calisthenics.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can go back to bed now.
No, I have a meeting in 6 minutes.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This one in Europe. Europe woke up. Now it's my turn. No, they've been up for a while, actually.
It's afternoon, yes.
All right. Well,
All right.
Thanks everybody. Look, we'll send out an email. I think in terms of the actual report stuff, Tanya and I were kind of going through it yesterday, and I think we're pretty close. So we'll probably circulate that in the very near future, probably the next week or two.
Yeah.
And then just work our way progressively through everything else. So stay tuned.
Brilliant.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
See you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Well done.
I can't freaking get my mouse back. There it is. Well, yeah, okay. That sounds a bit more hopeful than. Sounds like we interpreted most things. It's just a few, like the GitHub bits and pieces, which will be easy. Just transfer them into that template.
Yeah, and the template looks pretty straightforward looking at it.
Yeah, I think so.
So I suppose the only thing I just, because I couldn't see any point in prolonging it, was trying to get a couple of people to work on the vocabs while we're doing the other stuff, which I think would be good, but we can worry about that later. I mean, we're pretty close anyway.
Yeah, the vocabs. We're talking about the terms, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of got that, but it's just where it goes. And I think Mika's already kind of put a lot of thought into that anyway when she was doing like she did them as a JSON file or something.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
Maybe
I think
we should
she's
try
sort
to
of
organise it.
I think she's part way there.
Okay. Maybe we should try and organise to have a meeting with her next week sometime.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Give her a couple of days to get over whatever family stuff's going on.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you in the morning.
All right. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Say goodbye.